Welcome to Kids Mind. My name is Andrew Mwangi from Smart Brains Kenya, and in today's episode we are going to continue delving into the world of Scratch. Keep your questions and comments coming in through the SMS line 21144 and at GBS TV Africa across all our social media platforms. Let's dive right in. Let's start by recapping what we did last time. Last time we learned what Scratch is. Scratch is a high-level programming language that helps people by dragging and dropping blocks onto a coding space where instructions are followed and run on the stage. So we learned what these circles and the words underneath them mean. There's the motion. And the motion is simply how a sprite will move. For example, let's choose a random sprite like the Avery, and in the motion blocks for Avery, we can choose how she's going to move around on the stage. For example, she can move 10 steps, she can turn around, or go to a random position. So simply motion is how a sprite will move around on a screen. The second one is looks. Looks is simply how your sprite will look like when the instructions are run. For example, we could tell Avery to say hello for 2 seconds, or we could also change her to the next costume if she has any other costume. And we could also change the next backdrop. Now sound is simply what you will hear. For example, we could play the sound pop, or we could change the pitch of a sound, or we could clear all the sound effects, or we could reduce or increase the volume of the sound that the sprite is releasing. Events is when your code should be run. For example, the code could be run when flag is clicked, or when space key is pressed, or when a sprite is clicked, or when you receive a message, etc. Control is like manipulating your screen or your sprite. For example, we could wait 1 second so that something else happens, or we could repeat a code 10 times, or forever, or if something happens, then something happens, or if something happens, then something happens, else something else happens. Sensing is simply when your sprite senses an object. So now here we could touch, if the sprite is touching mouse pointer, something should happen, or if it's touching this color, something should happen. Or we could even ask what your name is. And operations is simply addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, or you could add two things together. And lastly, variables. A variable is simply a place where you can store data or information. For example, in our ping pong game, we will be adding a variable which we will call score, so that when the paddle touches the ball, the score is increased by 1. But if you miss, the score will be reduced by 1. So now let's start creating our ping pong game. What sprites will we need for our ping pong game? In our ping pong game, we will need the ball sprite, which will be the one moving around the screen. So we can get the ball. So let's start coding the ball. When the space key is pressed, when space is pressed, it should point in a certain direction so that the ball moves around. We could point the motion, we'll find this in the motion. We point in direction, let's say 90. And we'll also need it to turn in a certain angle so that the ball looks like it's moving to a random position. So we could turn angle, let's try 40. And now we will need the ball to be doing something as it goes as in moves around the screen. But right now we have not coded that it should move around the screen. So forever, we could take the repeat block and repeat something, let's do 100 times, and if it should move on the screen 10 steps, and if it's on the edge it should bounce. If on edge, we will find it in the motion. If on edge, bounce. Now we will also need it to turn at another degree so that the ping pong game is not too easy. So we could turn we could make it turn 15 degrees this way, and now we will bring the repeat block. It should repeat multiple times. Let's put it at 100, and it should move 15 steps. We will drag, move. Let's make it harder. We'll add 15 steps. And what if it's on edge? If it's on the edge, it should bounce. Alright, so now we will add one more angle, and it should still repeat this code a number of times. So we can bring the angle, it should turn, let's let it turn 30 degrees. 30, and it should repeat a number of times, 100 times. And what should we repeat 100 times? We should move 30 steps. We'll keep on increasing 30 steps. And if it's on edge, bounce. Now let's look at our code again. When space key is pressed, what should the ball do? It should point in direction 90 degrees, and it should turn 40 degrees. And also forever, it should repeat 100 times. What should it repeat? It should move 10 steps, and if on edge, bounce. Then it should turn 15 degrees. Then it should repeat something 100 times, which is move 15 steps, and if on edge, bounce. Then it should turn 30 degrees, and what should it repeat 100 times? Move 30 steps, and if on edge, bounce. Let's run our code and see what it will do. With space key is pressed. Now you can see it's pointing in a direction 90, then it changes its direction and moves faster like we coded it. Then it comes back to the top, repeat 10 steps. It starts moving 15 steps, then it starts moving 30 steps. That's all for today, friends. Thank you for remaining with us up to this moment. Keep your questions and comments coming in through the SMS line 21144 and at GBS TV Africa across all our social media platforms. My name is Andrew from Smart Brains Kenya, and until next time, keep it safe and keep it locked. Keep imagining and keep creating with Scratch. Bye-bye, everyone.